I'm Jay Taylor, editor of Jay Taylor's Gold Energy and Tech Stocks. Also host a radio show called Turning Hard Times into Good Times. And I'm here with Dr. Quinton Hennigh today. He's an advisor to NuLegacy Gold. And this is a company that I've been following for a number of years. Then I stopped following it because it through the bear market. But when I found out that Quinton was taking a look at it, and the company had a new vision, a geological vision of a model here that they're starting to look at and actually are very excited about it. So I'm really wanting to share this with my subscribers and also with my radio listeners. And I want to thank you, Quinton, for joining me today.
Well, thank you, Jay. Absolute pleasure.
Yeah, it is great. And I mean, when I see you getting involved with the company, I say, well, maybe if Dr. Hennigh is looking at it, maybe I should too. So I got back into NuLegacy when I learned that you were involved with the company. It trades in the United States under NuLGF. That's how I purchased it. Trades in Toronto under NUG. A lot of shares out, Quinton, 487 million, but you know, it's all relative. If you can come up with the goods, it doesn't really matter. 13 cents I saw in US money, that would give it a market cap of around 63 million, 65 million, something like that. Well, Quinton, you know, maybe for the benefit of people that aren't that familiar, just talk to us about where the project is. It's called the Red Hill Project. It's located in the Battle Mountain Trend, the prolific Battle Mountain Trend, where some of the world's greatest gold deposits have been discovered and are being produced from those. Talk to us a little bit about where it is, and then maybe about the geological vision, the new model that you and you know, you have quite a team. There's quite a team of very astute, very skilled geologists, geoscientists that are working with NuLegacy. But talk to us a little bit about the model, the vision that you have, and then perhaps talk about the drill program, because you've actually started a drill program. And that's what we want people to realize, that there's some exciting things coming down the pike if things go the way we hope.
That's right. And look, I appreciate you taking the time and having the opportunity to talk about this, because as you said, this is kind of a special moment for us. We're now drilling. You know, this it takes a while to get drill permits, especially something at this level. It's called a plan of operations. It's basically a property-wide permitting format but it allows you to test a big area. So these guys have basically plans to drill this thing at a robust level. But they've literally just started drilling within the past few days. And it's a pleasure to talk about that. I think the best way to do it, Jay, is to actually bring up their deck. I'm going to share my screen here. Look, you know, hopefully everybody can see this. I'm not going to do a full page turn. What I want to do is focus on those aspects that you just mentioned. Okay, the team is first class. They've basically got the A team out of Barrick employed with them now. These guys have worked in this area. They know this country inside and out. And they've developed a very, excellent 3D model of the subsurface, and I think that in turn will help improve odds of discovery. All right, company's disclaimer here. You know, anything I say, forward-looking statement. I am an advisor to the company. I am not a director of management, but still, disclaimer important for all these junior companies. This one can be found as part of the presentation on the website. Okay, I'm not going to talk about the stats of the company. You kind of went over that.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump right in here to the kind of the brain power behind the company. You know, and if you notice, a lot of the members of the company, you know, all the way from the chairman, Alex Davidson, who, like I said, the former Barrick executive vice president of Barrick. You know, we start at that level, but you know, look down the list there. We've got a long list of people like Roger found Pipeline, which is in the Cortez area, not far away. You know, you've got Ed Cope. He was a VP of Nevada for Barrick for many years. Charles Weekly is this geologist who I've talked about several times, who knows this country inside and out. And he's done just an exceptional job of modeling the subsurface and really building up our targets. You know, this is a blind target. Okay, we're drilling through volcanic rocks that cover the area, but given these guys' expertise, Mark Bradley included, I think we have very high probability of making a discovery. Okay, I'm gonna kind of jump forward, and we're gonna talk about where where the project is. So this is north central Nevada. This yellow circle up here is actually the Carlin district. Okay, so that's where the kind of the heartbeat of Nevada is, or has been for many years. Carlin, of course, was discovered early 1960s. Newmont mined there. Then Barrick came along in 1987, discovered the Betsy deposit. That's really what built Barrick, quite frankly. And that camp has had a long history of success, long history of discovery and success. Look, Betsy was found in 1987. It's a 50 million ounce deposit. Well, where's our 50 million ounce deposit down here? Cortez. So we're going to go to the circle down here at the south end. Okay, this is the Cortez trend, the Battle Mountain Cortez trend. This box right here, and in particular, this area around Cortez has a number of very large deposits. Pipeline's no small deposit. Cortez Hills, Gold Rush, these are all 10, 20 million ounce deposits. Don't have a 50 million ounce deposit yet. Is there a 50 million ounce there? Well, look, I think these guys have as good a chance as anything I've seen of finding similar deposit to post Betsy. So what I see is the exploration story at Cortez is similar to the history that we saw at Carlin, but you simply move it forward about 30 years. In other words, it's 30 years behind. And I think these guys have a reasonable shot of finding something just to absolutely knock your socks off kind of discovery here. Okay, so here's a map of that Cortez area. You can see the existing deposits we know about. You got Pipeline up there in the upper left. Cortez Hills, look, the original deposit, Gold Acres. I hope you can see my cursor, but that little tiny deposit there, that was actually one of the first mines, as were the Cortez mines, which are right there. They were little tiny babies compared to what was found. Pipeline, huge discovery in 1989. 1999, you got Cortez Hills. Guess what? 2010, you got Gold Rush. Huge deposit, 10 plus million ounces, 10 grams per ton. You can see every decade, boom, boom, boom. As you go southeastward here, a big deposit was found. Well, guess where we are? We're the next one, carriage in the train here. This rift anticline target, like I said, I've stayed awake many nights thinking about this target. I remember doing some work for Newmont years and years ago, looking at extension and how this thing might have broken apart. Basically, the Great Basin, when it's opened up and spread apart, it didn't open up just like a pure accordion. It actually opened up like an oblique accordion. So I think that's what results in this pattern, this kind of trend of deposits. These things have literally been pulled apart and you end up boom, 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 like a train. I think these guys are going to find the next train or car in the train. Okay, bit more detailed view. We're gonna kind of cut to the chase here. This is the country. That's the Gold Rush deposit over there across the valley. This is our anticline target. Okay, so this is the Serena zone, the iceberg Serena. They've been drilling here for years. A lot of smoke, great stuff. Where's that smoke coming from? It's coming from under that area right there. Okay, here's a drill footprint of Gold Rush. What you're seeing here, all these little colored pokey dots are, they're basically grade thickness of individual drill holes drilled at Gold Rush. Okay, so it gives you an impression of where gold is distributed. And you can see the system is about 7 kilometers long. It's a huge system. And the core areas, of course, you get nice consistent results. But even outside from that, you got a lot of really high gram meter intervals in those holes. But that gives you a sense of what we're looking for. This thing is like a long, skinny blanket. Think of it like that. That's our target. Rift anticline, I think, is going to have very similar geology and geometry to what we see at Gold Rush. What's really exciting is this thickness that's referred to here. That's the thickness of the prospective ore host unit. At Gold Rush, it's about 50 to 75 meters thick. Over at Rift anticline, we expect it to be 90 meters thick. Okay, that's what you need to host a big ore body, and that's our goal here. Okay, I'm gonna move forward. We did a lot of geophysics. These are what we call CSAMT lines. And how did Charles and Mark and so forth come up with the models for this drill target? It's using really good science. this CSMT data, which is an electrical technique, looks at the different, electrical properties of the rocks in the subsurface, and they could see right away that there was this upwarp, an anticline, this an upwarp like this. It's buried underneath the volcanic rocks. And by doing multiple lines and then producing a three-dimensional model of this, they were able to very closely define what they might hit in the subsurface. So this is a geologic interpretation done from that geophysics. Now there is a hole there. They drilled a hole in 2018. Didn't hit gold, but it did hit the right stratigraphy. So they do have something to anchor all of this geophysical data on, and that helped. But what's really important here is that this anticline, this upwarp thing here, is in reasonable distance to surface. To put it in perspective, it's about the same depth that the Betsy deposit was discovered back in 1987 in the Carlin Trend. Okay, and it's the same geometry, that upwarping geometry. What do I mean by that? Well, I'm going to show you a slide here. Hopefully I can scoot to it. Let's find it. I think it might have been left out. So apologies. Anyway, the profile, let's go back here. So the profile that you see here reminds me or anybody that's worked in Nevada of the cross-sectional view of what you see at Post Betsy. Okay, it straddles the crest of an anticline. Here we have this wind band 5, nicely upfolded here. The size of it, in other words, the width of it, and then the length of the target. When I say length, I'll go back to the plan view. The length of this is sufficient to host a major ore body. Okay, now it's absolutely delightful to say that the company is now drilling. They got their plan of operations, and they announced that I think late September. They also announced that they'd be drilling by mid-October, and they are. They've met all the expectations of the market so far. This year, I anticipate them drill something like 4 or 5 holes by year end. Usually best to take a break in the winter months out here. You don't want to get, spend a lot of money and spin your wheels literally in getting stuck in the mud. But I think these first 4 or 5 holes, I think, are well positioned. I think we might see answers very soon. So I guess I would urge people to kind of sit up, take note of this story. If you really want to invest in something that's kind of a swing for the fence kind of story, and it's right here in the middle of Nevada, and what we all know is a great jurisdiction, this one is well worth taking note.
Yeah, and how extensive is the drill program this fall? How many holes, and what do you think you need to see to tell you that you're on the right track at the end of this fall drill session? And then what might you be, if you hit what you're hoping to hit, what might you plan for 2021?
Yeah, look, the overall plan encompasses a lot more holes. Like I think there's 16 initial, like phase 1 holes. We will probably drill around 4 or 5, maybe. If we get lucky and the season's dry, maybe that could be extended to 6 or 8. We don't know, but let's be rational here. We'll tell the market 4 or 5. Each hole is going to be on the order of a few hundred meters, say 400 or 500 meters deep. Let's go back to the cross section. Just make sure everybody understands what that means. We got to get down through the volcanics up here and get down into this target horizon. And that you can see from the scale over here, from there down to here, say, is about 500 meters. So we'll be drilling, each hole will be, say, 500 meters on average. This hole's program, phase 116, holes 500, you can see is 8,000 meters. But this fall, I think we'll drill, again, 4 or 5 holes. Everyone's pretty confident about. And most importantly, though, Jay, I think the first round of holes here, these 4 or 5, should start to give us definitive answers about whether that important unit is down there. Perhaps, with a bit of luck, we see mineralization. I think that everybody should sit up and take note. This is one story to watch closely.
And how soon might we see some assays on this, Quinton? I know a lot of the labs are backed up, but how soon might we?
The company, and this is across the board with companies I'm helping at least, we're looking at ways to try to expedite things. In other words, if you submit an entire hole from top to bottom and put it in the lab, it can take a while, and especially if you have a whole long list of holes. There's ways to expedite it. In other words, take out the intervals of most highest importance and try to rush them. I think that will likely be the case here. I think that I don't run the drill program, but I think the guys on site, the Barrick guys, can run circles around knowing when and what to rush. So as they see core come out, I'm sure they'll develop a prioritized list where they can get some assay turnaround. Look, that's the game today, is trying to get your assays out of the lab, and I'm doing it on multiple fronts. But the gold ain't going anywhere.
All right. So, and the company's well funded, or is it going to need to raise some money sometime in the near future? What's the
look? The raise that we did back in May fully funds this phase 1 program. Look, if we hit discovery, obviously, you want to raise money and go more aggressive.
Right.
But right now, no, the funding is there.
All right. Well, this is certainly one I want to keep my eyes on. I own the shares myself. They're in my newsletter, and so for the benefit of people that are following this story, and hopefully there'll be some more people that take note of it too, because I think this is elephant country, and if you hit anything like, forget the 50 million, if you hit 20 million and 10 million from a 63 million market cap, the stock's going to be on the way, and I think people will be very satisfied. Quinton, I want to thank you so much for taking the time and explaining the geology in understandable terms to us lay folks. Thank you so much, and we'll look to keep up with this going forward. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Jay.